Your sister's baby shower is the family's priority. We can't come to your wedding, Mom said. I replied, that's fine. They had no idea I owned a $2 million oceanfront villa in Maui. When they saw the photos of our ceremony, they couldn't breathe. I got 101 missed calls. My name's William. I'm 36, the oldest, the quiet one. The guy who files everyone's paperwork because you're good with numbers. I'm a banker. I read loan agreements for fun, color code budgets, and have an almost unhealthy relationship with spreadsheets. In my family, that translates to one thing. I'm the walking ATM with a pulse. Dad calls me responsible. Mom calls me reliable. My younger sister, Hannah, calls me when her balance hits $12.47 and rent is due tomorrow. My younger brother, Jake, calls me when his dream business plan is so close, bro, and also needs $8,000 by Friday. So when the wedding planning started, I bent over backward to make it easy. I picked a date that didn't clash with holidays. I gave everybody a year's notice. I even offered to cover flights for my parents if they needed help. 2 weeks before the ceremony, I called Mom just to confirm. I was in my office, staring at a screen of corporate cash flows, trying not to think about seating charts. She didn't say hello. Your sister's baby shower is the family's priority. We can't come to your wedding, Mom said. Calm. Final. I stared at the phone like it had misquoted her. It's the same weekend? I asked. It became the same weekend, she replied. These things happen. You know how important this is for Hannah. First baby. We need to support her. Got it, I said. Don't be dramatic, William. We'll send a gift. That's fine, I replied. I swallowed the rest. Every speech I'd rehearsed since I was 12 about being second place. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I didn't explain deposits, vendors, or the quiet way my fiancée, Mara, looked at the empty line under family table. I just ended the call, turned my phone face down, and breathed. Across the desk, my assistant peeked in. Everything good? Family, I said. I wish I could tell you I cried. I didn't. I went very still, like a market right before it crashes. In the family group chat, Hannah pinged. Baby shower is gonna be adorable. Theme, little sunshine. Can everyone bring a book instead of a card? Dad reacted with confetti. Mom sent 3 hearts. No one mentioned my wedding. I typed nothing. I had already decided how I was going to handle it. They thought I would plead. They thought I would negotiate. They had no idea what I had planned, and they really had no idea where we were getting married. I just let the typing bubbles die. I didn't become the family wallet overnight. It started small. At 18, I got my first internship at a regional bank. My paycheck went to gas, textbooks, and the house fund, which was Mom's way of saying groceries minus the treats I wasn't allowed to buy. When Hannah's cheer fees were due, I volunteered. When Jake's varsity trip needed a deposit, I offered. By the time I graduated, it wasn't charity. It was expectation. Family takes care of family, Dad would say, which somehow meant I took care of everyone and everyone took care of having opinions. When I landed in commercial lending, the numbers got bigger. So did the asks. I helped refinance the house when Dad's hours got cut. I co-signed Hannah's last semester when she switched majors from nursing to communications because clinicals are mean. I paid for Jake's second real shot at a company, an e-commerce store that sold imported coffee he didn't drink. When it failed, he blamed postage rates. Whenever I hesitated, Mom found a sentence that wrapped guilt in silk. You're blessed, William. Not everyone gets what you have. You owe it to your siblings. What I had? A studio apartment with a desk that wobbled and a car that only started on the second try. What I had was the discipline to say no to avocado toast and yes to IRAs. I wasn't blessed. I was boring. Banks love boring. A few years in, I got promoted. I moved to a larger office with glass walls and a plant I kept alive through reminders. I started consulting on the side, exactly above board. All disclosed, to help small businesses structure debt properly. It paid well. I didn't post about it. I don't post anything. My family assumed my salary was public property. Hannah started dating a guy named Kyle who collected sneakers and bounced checks. They got married after a whirlwind year. He lost his job twice. Every crisis wound up in my inbox. Will, can you just cover rent this month? We'll pay you back when taxes hit. Hannah texted. Taxes didn't hit for them. They grazed and kept running. I tried boundaries. I really did. I sent spreadsheets. I suggested budgets. I bought Hannah a book on baby steps and snowballs. She said it was condescending. Last spring, Dad called me from the dealership. We found a reliable SUV for your sister, he said, voice bright. We're a little short on the down payment. Just $4,000. Consider it your gift to the baby. I already sent a stroller and a year of diapers, I said. He sighed. Money is just a tool, son. It's my tool, I said, and he hung up. 3 days later, I found out my name was on the loan anyway. Dad knew a guy. My credit score wept. I froze my reports and called the bank. It was a mess. We untangled it after a week. The conversation with Mom was the worst part. You're making this ugly, she said. We needed a solution. You committed fraud, I said. Big word, she replied. Family doesn't sue family. I didn't. I did, however, stop visiting on Sundays. Then came the wedding. Mara and I had been together for years. She is the calmest person I know, a math teacher who loves second chances and cheap coffee. She watched me carry my family like a second job and never once said, drop them. She just kept bringing me back to the numbers. What's the pattern? She'd ask, and I'd show her my payment ledger like a heart monitor spiking every time Hannah texted. We kept the wedding simple. Small guest list. No drama. My only requests to my family were punctual RSVPs and zero requests for money the week of. The baby shower crept closer. At first it was late spring. Suddenly, it was my wedding weekend. Hannah posted pastel mood boards and a tower of cupcakes. Mom wrote, Hannah's day is going to be magical. When I politely pointed out the date, she replied, you can schedule weddings anytime. Babies are special. Isn't the baby due in 3 months? I asked. Exactly, she said, like she'd won a chess match. Then the group chat went silent about my wedding, except for Jake's comment. Bro, if you do it live, send the link. We'll tune in between games. Dad added, we'll be there in spirit. I stared at the empty family column on our seating plan and felt stupid for being surprised. Meanwhile, the money asks didn't slow down. Hannah wanted a premium shower with custom favors, balloon installations, and a photographer. She sent me a list titled, Since You Can't Bring a Casserole, with price tags attached. Mom followed up with a voice note. William, don't be petty. You make 6 figures. It's nothing to you. And think of the optics. A banker who doesn't support his sister's baby. I almost laughed. Optics. The week before the wedding, my card flagged a fraud alert. Someone tried to add an authorized user to my personal account. Guess whose email was on the request? Kyle's. The bank caught it, reversed it, and asked if I recognized the phone number. I did. Hannah's. I breathed into my hands and stared at the ceiling. I wanted to believe it was a mistake. It wasn't. I called. She answered on speaker, party noise in the background. What? She said. You tried to put Kyle on my card? Relax, she said. It didn't even work. And Mom said, I'm not your bank, I said. She scoffed. You wouldn't even be where you are without us. That line. The family myth. As if their needs forged me. So now I owed them interest forever. I told her I'd see them at the wedding if they changed their minds. She told me the baby shower photo booth was going to be insane. She hung up to pick glitter fonts. I sat with the quiet. Mara put her hand on my shoulder. What do you want to do? Nothing, I said. Not with them. What about us? She asked. Us. I finally smiled. Everything. The breaking point didn't happen on a phone call. It happened in a cheerful kitchen with lemon towels and a bowl of lemons that were fake. I'd stopped by my parents' house to drop off the wedding program, a courtesy. I found the mid-assembly line for the baby shower favors. Tiny jars of honey with, oh, baby, tags. Dad didn't look up. Mom did. If you came to apologize, I accept, she said, as if I'd done something. For what? I asked. For making this complicated. I set the programs on the counter. I'm here to drop these off. And to make one thing really clear. William, she said, sugar knife in her voice. This is not the time. It's exactly the time. Hannah walked in, one hand on her belly, the other on her phone. If you're not bringing the mimosa bar, at least don't kill the vibe. I laughed. It came out sharp. Right. She rolled her eyes. Why are you being like this? It's not our fault you picked a weekend that didn't work. I gave you the date a year ago. Life happens, Mom said, already bored. I took out my folder. Yes, I brought a folder. I'm an unfun person who brings receipts. I slid a printed ledger across the counter. Dates, amounts, memos. Venmo, checks, wire transfers. 7 years of just this once. Here's everything I've covered for this family, I said. House payment during Dad's furlough. Tuition catch-up. Jake's rent when he got evicted. Hannah's medical bill in 2021. The flights for our last Christmas. The surprise SUV down payment that somehow used my credit without asking. The loan for the coffee business. The overdraft fees no one ever saw. Dad's jaw tightened. Mom didn't touch the paper. This isn't fair, she said. It's facts, I said. And here are 2 more. 1. I'm done funding anything I didn't personally choose. 2. If you or your husbands try to add yourselves to any of my accounts again, I will file police reports. That includes you, Hannah. That includes you, Dad. You wouldn't, Dad said. I would, I said calm. Because I'm not your borrower. I'm your son. And I'm getting married. Hannah snorted. To that teacher who makes TikToks about fractions? To Mara, I said. And regardless of what you think of her job, she's the only person in this room who hasn't treated me like a debit card. Silence. Then Mom reached for the ledger with 2 fingers like it was dirty. Do you want a medal? I want boundaries. You want control, she snapped. You always did. This is you punishing us because your sister's day matters more right now. Your sister's day, Hannah echoed, like a chorus. I put my keys in my pocket. My wedding matters. And if you choose not to be there, that's a choice you live with. Not me. Mom's mouth flattened. You're going to regret this. I won't, I said. One more thing. Stop telling people you can't afford to travel. I offered to pay for your tickets months ago. Not to. She started, then stopped. Her eyes flickered, calculating. She didn't know where the wedding actually was. None of them did. Because I never wrote the location in the group chat. I'd mailed invitations with details, old school. They never opened the envelopes. Hannah waved her phone. Just drop the link to the live stream. There won't be one, I said. Dad pushed his chair back. So that's it. You're cutting us off? On your wedding week. I'm cutting off access to my wallet, I said. You always had access to me. You just didn't use it. I left to the sound of scissors cutting ribbon. No one followed. I drove home, washed my hands of honey and glitter, and sent one final message to the group chat. Travel details were in the envelope I mailed 6 months ago. You can still come. If you choose not to, please don't contact me on the wedding day. No one replied. Within an hour, Hannah posted a boomerang of yellow cupcakes with the caption, "Real family shows up." Mom commented, "Absolutely." Dad posted a thumbs up. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and started packing. We flew out 3 days later. If you're wondering why I'd been so calm, it's because the plan didn't depend on them. The venue wasn't a hotel ballroom in our city. It wasn't even on the mainland. 5 years ago, after a gnarly promotion and a bonus that felt unreal, I bought a property most people my age wouldn't even visit except in their screensavers. An oceanfront villa in Maui. 2 bedrooms, wraparound lanai, a slice of sky that looks like it was painted new every morning. It wasn't impulse. It was math, low-interest leverage, high-yield rentals covering costs, tax strategy that my colleagues still tease me about at happy hour. I never told my family. Not because I was hiding. Because the second I'd share, it would become communal. And I'd be asked how many relatives could crash just for a week during peak season. Mara knew. My closest friends knew. My family didn't. So when Mom said the baby shower was the priority and they couldn't come, I didn't tell her the ceremony would be at sunset with the Pacific literally applauding on the rocks behind us. I didn't tell her the officiant would be Mara's old mentor, or that we'd host 20 people on the lanai with fresh lace, barefoot vows, and a ukulele that made even Jake's old cynicism in my head shut up. We landed on Thursday. By Friday, our friends had filled the kitchen with flowers. Mara's parents cried, happy tears, when they saw the view. I grilled mahi-mahi in an apron that said, "Banker's Grill to temperature." We rehearsed by laughing. No one practiced looking at the empty chairs. Saturday, I woke up to a dozen thinking of you texts and one from Hannah. A selfie with a balloon arch, sunshine shower. Wish you were here to see it, she wrote, like she had no idea what the day was. I didn't reply. At 5:47 p.m., Mara walked out in a simple dress with her hair up and eyes that made breathing optional. The sky turned a color that doesn't have a name unless you work in paint stores. We said our vows with sand under our feet. Our friends clapped and cried. The ocean did its thing. During dinner, my friend Elise took pictures. She's a photographer who doesn't use the word content. She shot the villa like a magazine spread by accident. After the toasts, she airdropped us a handful. The kiss framed by palms. Mara laughing on the steps. Me carrying her through the doorway with the ocean like a dare behind us. We posted 3. No captions. Just pictures. We didn't tag the location. Our friends did that for us in their stories. By dessert, the family group chat, which had been quiet on my end for days, sprouted red dots like a rash. I didn't open it. I put my phone in a drawer and danced with my wife. At 10:36 p.m., Elise whispered, "You're going to want to see this." She showed me her phone. Hannah's Instagram story wasn't cupcakes anymore. It was a screen recording of our photos. She'd zoomed in on the water and typed, "Where is this?" with 10 question marks. Mom commented under a repost from a cousin, "Is this a resort? Why didn't he tell us?" Dad texted me, "Call me now." I didn't. We cleaned up, put leftovers in the fridge, and sat on the steps listening to the sea make decisions. Around midnight, I caved and checked my phone. 101 missed calls. Voicemails stacked like books you never planned to read. Mom, Dad, Hannah, aunties I hadn't heard from in years. The words bled together in previews. Unbelievable. How could you? Your grandmother would be. Are we invited to the after party? This is cruel. Why are you hiding money? Who paid for this? You always think you're better than us. You made your mother cry. Mara looked at me. I looked back, tired. What do you want to do? She asked. Brush our teeth, I said. She smiled. Banker move. We slept with the windows open. The night air smelled like salt and flowers. For the first time in months, my shoulders dropped. Morning. Coffee on the lanai. The phone was still hot with missed calls. I listened to one voicemail from Mom because I'm not made of stone. Her voice was tight. William, you embarrassed us. People are asking where you got the money for this. You can't flaunt wealth and exclude family. Do you know how this makes us look? Call me back immediately so we can explain you were impulsive and didn't think it through. I laughed out loud. Impulsive. Then Dad. Son, we raised you better than this. Hannah is devastated. You could have done the decent thing and hosted the wedding somewhere normal where your family could attend. You put your sister in a terrible position. Then Hannah. So you've been playing rich while we struggle? Wow. I hope your ocean keeps you warm when you don't have a family. I typed a single message to the group chat and hit send. I sent invitations with all the details 6 months ago. You chose not to come. You also tried to access my accounts without permission. That ends now. Please do not contact me again until you can apologize without excuses. The read receipts flew in like little gray birds. The cousins started DMing. Dude, this is epic, congrats. An aunt wrote privately, proud of you. Don't let them spin it. Also that water. One of Hannah's friends, someone who'd watched me quietly pick up tabs for years, sent me a screenshot of Mom's private messages complaining I'd blindsided them. I didn't engage. I didn't explain the math or the mortgage or the rental income or how I'd spent my 20s saying no to vacations so I could say yes to this. I didn't tell them the villa wasn't about flexing. It was the first thing I'd bought entirely for me. At noon, Dad finally wrote, we're coming. What's the address? No question mark. Mara squeezed my hand. Do you want them here? I pictured them on the lanai, picking at the corners of our happiness, asking how much everything cost while pretending they weren't asking. I pictured Mom posing with the view like she'd earned it. I pictured Hannah demanding a do-over shower in front of the ocean. No, I said. I want quiet. I typed, we're on our honeymoon. Please respect that. He replied with a thumbs down. Mom sent, unreal. The day unfolded without their shadows. We swam. We napped. We ate fruit that tasted like the color orange is supposed to taste. Every now and then the phone buzzed with someone else's opinion. I turned it off. Back home, something shifted. Dad pinged me a week later, less chest puffed. We need to talk about some bills. Things are tight. The old rhythm. Hint, ask, imply. I sent him the number of a credit counselor. He replied, so you're abandoning your family. 2 days after that, a cousin told me the baby shower turned into an argument. Hannah found out from someone's repost where we'd been. She confronted Mom about hiding it. Mom said William should have told us. Dad blamed Mara's influence. Kyle asked if the house was timeshare why, in a tone that said he Googled mortgages and learned nothing. The universe rearranged them without my effort. Mara and I went to a movie on a Tuesday for the first time in months. I sat in the dark, held her hand, and felt a strange new lightness. I'd expected grief. I got relief. I missed the idea of a family I never actually had. The real ones were busy trying to figure out who to blame now that the ATM had a sign on it. Out of service. I used to think the right combination of gifts, bailouts, and patience would make my family see me. I thought if I just kept showing up, they'd meet me halfway. That was my math error. I treated love like a loan that would amortize if I fed it enough payments. It doesn't. Love isn't debt. It's choice. I also used to think leaving would feel like slamming a door. It didn't. It felt like closing a tab that had been auto-refreshing drama for years. The browser still exists. I'm just not clicking it. A week after we got back, I sat with a pen and wrote letters. Not emails. Not texts. Letters. One to Mom, one to Dad, one to Hannah, one to Jake. Simple, direct, no metaphors, no heat. I wrote that I loved them, and that love wasn't a credit limit. I wrote that I wouldn't be covering any more bills, deposits, emergencies, or temporary little bridges. I wrote that attempts to access my accounts meant police reports, not family meetings. I wrote that I was open to a relationship based on respect instead of balance transfers. I wrote that apologies had to say we were wrong, without, but. I wrote that if they needed help finding resources, I'd send links, once. I mailed the letters and turned my phone back on. The first call I answered was from Aunt Rosa. I saw the photos, she said. I cried. Not because of the view. Because you finally looked like your life fit you. The second was from Mara's dad. Proud of you, son, he said, and it landed in a space my own father never filled. Hannah posted a story the next day, a petty meme about money changing people. I didn't reply. Jake texted you good. I wrote back, yeah, you. He answered, working on it. That, working on it, said more than anything he'd asked for in years. Maybe one person will decide to step out of the family machine. Maybe not. That's not a line item I budget for anymore. The villa? We're back there next summer with friends. Not to prove anything. Because I like waking up to the sound of a planet that keeps going even when group chats explode. We'll grill fish, argue about board games, and talk about nothing. I will not post a single price tag. If you've read this far waiting for revenge, sorry. The only revenge I wanted was a life that didn't require theirs. The only update worth giving is this. In every room I stand in now, bank, beach, kitchen at midnight, I recognize the voice in my own head. It's mine. It's calm. It says simple things like, no, not today, that's not my responsibility. Mom texted last night. We're ready to talk if you're done being stubborn. I typed and deleted a dozen replies. Then I wrote the only one that fits. I'm ready to talk when you're ready to listen. I hit send. I set my phone down. I turned to Mara, who was grading quizzes at our table, red pen moving slow and neat. She looked up. I didn't explain. I didn't vent. I didn't do the old dance. Want tea? I asked. She smiled. Yes. I boiled water. We sat. We existed. No performance, no invoice, no ledger. Just quiet, the good kind. I used to think I'd be the bad son if I stopped paying. Now I know I'm just a man who finally learned the simplest financial rule there is. Protect your principal. Everything else, everyone else, gets interest only if there's anything left, and only if they've earned it. I'm done being a card in someone else's wallet. I'm married. I'm happy. And I mean it when I say this. I won't let myself be used again.